Well, hello, Dragon family. Happy Tuesday. I'm back to you live here. I got last week off, had to go to Wyoming. It was a great reconnection with the land that I used to live on, with amazing friends that I still have there that I lost touch with. So all in all, felt like a huge reset. It was really awesome. Even though it was a lot of work, I had a lot of work to do cleaning up on the land up there. But here we are back. It's Tuesday. I haven't done a Tuesday live in some time, I think. And it's almost 11 o'clock, which was my old slot. If you guys remember, those that have been here for some time, I used to always come on live at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays. So in that flow this week, that's how it worked out. And we have an interesting discussion this week. Not so much directly about the dragons or questions about the dragons and working with them, but because of the work with them, one of the gals from my Entering the Dragon Realms program that just finished, well, we did it this spring, she's been contemplating a lot of things because that's what the journey tends to do. It tends to drudge up all the stuff and all those deeper questions as we start to move into memory banks of our higher knowledge. And so these things start rising through the heart. And so it was a really great question I want to dive into. And so Evelyn wrote me and she said, you know, I'm in this place of feeling trapped in 3D as part of predestination. You know, 3D is an inversion of higher dimensions where free will reigns. Is our Dharma predestined? In other words, is free will an illusion? And so this is a really beautiful question because there's so many aspects to it that we can look at. And it's in that deeper work with the dragons that these kinds of things rise up for contemplation. So to dive into that for her and for all of you, let's look at what predestination is. What happens when you decide to come and incarnate again or for the first time on this planet or any other planet, but particularly, or star system? This one has an aspect of free will within its construct, that the reason most of our guides and guardians cannot step in and make decisions for us, help us too much. We have to ask for things, and then they can gladly step in and help and bring all kinds of support, but they can't overstep their bounds with free will. And so we need to look at coming in. If it's not your first lifetime, or even if it is, there's things that you intend to learn. There are things that is your highest and best intention for soul lessons, maybe for some karmic balance. Maybe there's something you're working on in a higher level classroom that this is a perfect opportunity to come down and do the mechanics of it in a different density and see if you've really mastered it. There's all kinds of reasons that your soul will choose and usually make a conglomeration or combination of things for the life plan. You do have a life plan. You do have a destiny, so to speak, of what you're destined to work on, destined to, or chosen to, if you look at it that way. You set it up. Your soul designs the life that you want to have and all the things that that's going to incorporate. So if you have many lifetimes and you've got a bunch of balance that's out of whack as far as dark and light, or always being the perpetrator, never the victim, there's things that if you've perpetrated things or had that against you, there's balance out of whack that needs to come into rights. And on those scales, that's one of the biggest things that we choose coming in. So when we set that up, we'd set up the life circumstances, the parents, the household, the location, the financial status, all the things that will make and give us the perfect equation, if all stays in alignment with that, for what you intend. So we can call it destiny, and it's funny because I feel like the word intention is somewhere in that destiny. When I say it, I feel like that energy is so locked up in there or seated in there as your soul's intention is your destiny that unfolds. And so where does free will fit into that? When we come in with that destiny and all those desires, we have a lot of soul family that we incarnate around consistently. And so we have a lot of different beings that we can choose to be in soul contracts with, that will meet up, or our guides will try and get our paths across. We'll be able to meet up and complete certain things together, play certain roles together. It really is a perfectly written script, like a massive play that you're a part of. And you're the designer, you're the playwright, you're the actor, you're the screen director, you're the set director. Everything is your unfolding. So when we come in with all those things of, well, I've got soul contracts with this, I'm going to cross paths hopefully at this point in my life with this person to have this lesson of the heart, or I'm going to have this lesson in finance, or I'm going to have this lesson with family stuff. And that being said, we still have, and so do all these players, free will, so that at any given moment, our choice point moves us forward either towards or away from that destiny. And if that is the case and it moves us away and there's still a soul contract that's possible, our guides will work really hard to bring it back across the new path, the new scenarios. And this is where we have many, many potential timelines as we move towards, and this is how it's been historically in 3D, as we move towards the full bifurcation of 5D and 3D, what tends to happen now is there's fewer and fewer potentialities of timelines of how many players can be involved. There's got to be players that are going forward with us in 5D or staying with us in 3D. So this analogy that I'm going to give is more applicable to the past and how we've gotten to this point, because every single choice point we make holds all these different potential timelines there, as every other player is also making a choice. And so we might have someone we have a soul contract with for a relationship or some kind of lesson with work, and that goes awry because they make a choice to, instead of working as a CEO of a big company and being my boss, maybe they're going to start this other sideline over here, and I'm not living over there, so I'm not going to do it. Well, our soul will continue to renegotiate contracts or bring us into alignment with that. So it's one of these very interesting mixes of every choice point of mine, every choice point of yours, every choice point of his, every choice point of hers, every choice point of theirs, makes this massive tapestry weaving that you think, well, how can I be muddled into any free will within this? And yet it's that free will in every moment that you are choosing to go forward towards something. And that's where our intuitive knowing really guides us with, especially as we wake up, really become aware of our higher spiritual aspect, these principles of what we've designed, moving towards that. And so as we get more attuned to ourselves, we actually do start having a stronger sense of knowing of what is the right path, what is the right action step, which direction I need to take. And that is really putting you into alignment with that soul intention, that original destination, that design, that predestination, whatever you want to call it. That is moving towards your destiny. And you can feel it all along. If you look back on your journey of when you felt like you were moving towards yourself in a positive way and when you knew you made choices that moved you further away from that. It's like, in hindsight's 2020, right? You can always look back and go, wow, you know, that really turned me this way. And I ended up circling back around to get over here. But there's definitely something with our free will in there that says, all right, I can still choose to not balance that karma. I can choose to not be in relationship with that person. I can choose to not play in that dynamic of whether it's scarcity or abundance. And when I choose that, if it's something that maybe doesn't then balance out in this lifetime, then I will have the burden on my soul level to come back and get that balanced. And whether I do it here or maybe this timeline is zeroed out and I go through it in a different means. But typically, lifetime after lifetime, we've built up more karma or we've avoided certain karma, and then we still have to come back at the end of the day and balance it. So we come back again, or we come back in a parallel timeline so that we actually have multiple incarnations happening simultaneously somewhere on the planet, and or sequential lifetimes where we come back, we do a soul review, we realize we have to still make up for those things, but there's no penalty for that. There is karma to balance. There's consequence in that sense of, oh, I still need to finish it. It's like going to university and you take a bunch of classes and you realize halfway through the semester that you've taken too many. And so you bail out of one, like last ditch effort, you know, like week 10 or whatever, you get one time to do that and you bail on that class. Well, it's a required class for your major to graduate. So at some point you have to circle back around and take it. And maybe you do it when you don't have so many other classes or such a big class load, but that it's the same idea of what we need to do on soul level learning, soul level completion points, because anytime that we want to complete a system and go through an ascension process in a system, we have to have actually completed all of the role play, all of the different potentials in order to go through that field, which is why many, many light workers and those going forward with an ascension process this time around feel like very old souls, that they've been here many, many times, too many incarnations to count. It's because they've done all those that allows them to then go towards that ascension pathway. And they finally have the keys for anything they didn't complete to actually zero that out in order to move forward. So I hope that answered Evelyn's question and maybe gave some insight or contemplation points for some of the rest of our dragon family. It is really a big, big topic, but you can break it down to pretty simple stuff. So I hope that was helpful. Anyway, wishing you a beautiful week. There's some gorgeous, gorgeous weather happening here. We had a wonderful Memorial Day holiday yesterday. My dad actually turned 88 yesterday. So we had a big family barbecue. It was a real treat. So I hope you enjoyed something. I know many of you are overseas and probably didn't have a holiday weekend. But whatever holiday's coming up for you, I hope you enjoy it and enjoy this moving towards summer weather for everybody in the Northern Hemisphere. All right, I'll see you guys sometime next week. Send your questions in and take advantage of the discovery calls. You know, I have lots of answering questions time directly one-on-one available on the calendar. I know sometimes it looks like I'm booked for 2 years because there's nothing showing. My calendar only goes 3 weeks out. So if you don't see anything right away, it means my calendar is blocked or full, and keep checking. Check back for the next week that opens up, because those 20-minute discovery calls are really fun. They're not a reading space, but they do answer a lot of questions and give some insight of maybe where you're at on your path, what you're moving towards, what direction you need to take, and those kind of things. So have a great one, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.